And the next program point is our ritual, our morning circle ritual. You didn't see this, but normally we start the day where we meet in Kepler's garden and we make a circle. We close the eyes, we breathe, we hold our hands. And this is actually a little snipsel out of this. I am happy to welcome my dear colleagues Veronika, Liebl and Christl Baur. And I start with, it was a very intense day yesterday. We will talk about that, but the intensity of the day brought that I haven't seen and met these two women the entire day, and I am interested as being responsible for both of them. Where the hell were you? No, how was your day yesterday, Veronika? Where did you hide?
It felt actually like a constant video conference, to be honest.
Wasn't it a constant video conference?
Yes. I started off with the video conference on a panel, then I moved into a workshop on business models of online contents with really exciting participants, a closed workshop actually. Then we had another video conference and another one, and finally I had actually a physical event, the soirée in the evening, where the Bruckner Orchestra played really in a wonderful, really magical way. So yes, a good mixture of programs yesterday. A little bit too much video conferencing for my sense, but it was really a fantastic day yesterday.
Indeed it was, and Christl, so...
Well, I was not in video conference, but I was constantly in streaming studios. And I really missed the outside, I really missed that festival spirit where you walk around, you run around, and you actually get to see how the artworks and the artists are doing. It felt like a perennial event where we were stuck in a room with more than 20 people, constantly going from 1, 2, 3, channel 3, and switch! And this in the times of seconds. And then at the same time I was also watching, of course, the big concert night, just not from outside, but from the streaming studio, being responsible to make sure that the camera is working and that the people get the Bauchbinden, the lower thirds, that those are correct. And
yeah, this woman wears like 20 different hats. And we have entirely 40 hats, and this woman on the other side is wearing the other 20 hats. That brings me to one very important point. I mean, that we guys are able to sit here and to make jokes about the world that we are currently in and that we created a little bit on our own, including the mess that we created into our own. I'd like to briefly link to the team that is behind these cameras. In the rooms here, in the cellar rooms here of the Kepler Hall, our colleagues are doing an incredible job. We started and kicked off 4 days before 4 streaming channels, and we never did that before. I said yesterday that the luck or the sun that is shining us is on the one side the same lucky situation as we could start without any breakdowns and major failures into this journey, into this adventure. And this is not only luck, it is because of the hard ambition, passion work of our wonderful team, and I'd like to, hug you all and congratulate you all, and I want the world to know that it's not us, it's us.
yes,
okay.
Definitely.
So there was an intense day yesterday. There was the soirée yesterday, as Veronika mentioned. It was not just the wonderful Bruckner Orchestra. It was many other musicians and actors who would focus, on the topic of freedom. It was a journey into the history of freedom, into the history of these moments where humankind has equality embedded. And once this is triggered, we generate energy, power, to go out, to raise our voice, to tell what is wrong and to fight for this. And that was yesterday, from my point of view, a big one. I was sleeping so good afterwards. And I felt so good. But anyways, Now we have actually a program. Our colleague Anna Grubauer, always in the background. I wonder why she's not joining us. Is always preparing with our communication team a little bit of a program, and it's us then to mess it up and to change the plans.
Regie for us messing this up.
But today we want to be good boys and girls. And Christl, I think you have a clue what we want to talk about.
Well, yeah, we have actually really a full day planned ahead for you guys, and not just online but also actually physically. It is the day for our visitors to come here to the festival.
Yes.
And they are coming and coming and coming, and outside you really see, I just made a tour before through the exhibition, and it is already festival mood there.
Yeah.
And what I want to introduce you actually is to our conference program. Walter Oetsch and Renata Schmidt-Kunz, they prepared an incredible 3-session panel that is happening live here in the physical form at JKU, but of course is live streamed at the same time. The topic is COVID-19 and what kind of future scenarios could we imagine. Walter Oetsch invited incredible speakers such as Sieghard Neckel and Antonia Birnbaum. Sieghard Neckel is a professor at Hamburg University, mainly researching into the change of society and what that means, especially now looking at COVID, what kind of economical changes do we have, what kind of societal changes, and he has a rather serious approach on that. On the other side, we have Antonia Birnbaum coming from the Angewandte University in Vienna. And she is trying to, especially from the philosophical point, find a little bit more positive view on the current situation. So follow this discussion, it will be very interesting. And now we have actually a second part of the program, that is the performances program, that will first we start with conferences, then we have performances, then conferences again, and you can follow this. Martin, would you like to say something about the performances?
That basically I like performances. Yes. I'm struggling between like and love performances, but at the end I have a very open and positive attitude to performances.
Should I say something about the artist now?
No, as Christl said, the day today has 3 shifts. So 3 shifts means that we have a total capacity of 1,500 people. Each shift has a max capacity of 500 people. If we have now the morning shifts running out there, 2 hours are reserved for touring around the park and having a look at the exhibitions, at the projects, and 1 hour is actually in the last hour we are prepared for doing performances on the Seebühne.
Exactly.
And who is on stage?
We have actually 4 incredible artists. For example, a project called Moreover from Jennifer Walsh and Wobbly. She is actually singing and performing with an artificial intelligence. So actually this whole program is part of the AI and Music Festival. Then we have Baez Artemi Maria Giotti, and her colleague Szilárd Benes from Hungary is playing the clarinet together with an artificial system that is actually deciding by itself whether it wants to follow along the music, whether it wants to improvise on it, or whether it just stays silent for the moment. The third one is Hexorcismo from a Mexican artist that is based in Berlin at the moment, Moisés Horta Valenzuela. And he especially looks into the talisman in poetry, actually. He works with language. He tries to understand what kind of networks and ancestral technologies of the spirit can, in a combination, do together. The last one is Gnava Machine, a French-Moroccan duo that actually has 2 independent computer systems that follow along the clarinet and the bass from the musicians and then tries to play with it. So it will be an incredible journey, and now we will have actually a short insight into what Hexorcismo from Moisés is all about.
Yeah, this and many more on the stages, on the performance stages of the Ars Electronica on-site garden, the Kepler's garden here in Linz. By the way, thanks to Hannes Franks, the wonderful Hannes Franks, the guy in our team who is responsible for these stages, and his colleague Petra Freimund. Thank you guys, if you listen. We love you, you're doing a wonderful job. But now to another very, very interesting set of programs that is going to be introduced by Veronika. It is about journeys that, in a way, got selected by us, or let's say the protagonists doing those journeys.
Exactly. So this year's really exciting format is we have commissioned about around 30 artists for video journeys, and they are guiding us through their daily practice, but they are also guiding us to really exciting, inspiring and creative places. So we ask them to take us on a journey to places they inspire them, and also to present us what they are or introducing us as art thinking. We've done this in the framework of the European Artificial Intelligence Lab and our STARTS program in order to bring on this interdisciplinary discourse also between artists and scientists. And the outcome is really fantastic. So please have a look into these journeys. You can see from a drive through Paris in a garden costume to a really, really exciting tours also between artists and scientists into scientific labs and places, or sunset tours. So their variety is amazing, and you will be able to also follow this interesting discourses between different collaborators, for example in residency programs, but also collaborators in between artists and research organizations and science organizations. As I said, we have done this partly also within the European Artificial Intelligence Lab, and this is a whole program of Ars Electronica we're doing together with 12 partners all over Europe. We are presenting in 3 years more than 200 programs, exhibitions, conferences, performances, workshops, whatever you wish will be presented in these 3 years. And of course this festival, Ars Electronica 2020, has also a strong focus on this AI lab. Our core mission of this AI lab is to invite artists to, of course, experiment with this technology. So they should use artificial intelligence and machine learning to experiment with their artistic practice, but also we invite them to reflect on topics beside the technological and scientific direction. So we want them, or we engage them, to also present educational, ethical, cultural dimensions of artificial intelligence. As I said, we are doing this in a large partner network, and many of them are also involved with gardens this year in the whole festival. So please just go to the website and select the tag AI Lab, and you will be redirected to all the wonderful garden partners doing also AI programs. Tonight, one suggestion, please have a look into the AI and Humanity Conference on the New World channel. We are hosting this in collaboration with Amnesty International. It will be really an absolute highlight of the festival, and we are investigating how AI can also be actively used to protect human rights. Maybe you want to have a short look into what we in the whole consortium are doing in the form of the AI lab, and also enjoy a couple of nice pictures and reminders from last year's Post City. Enjoy.
Oh yeah, Post City. Post City is Post City, Kepler's garden.
The latest developments in artificial intelligence truly are astonishing, and they will soon be advancing exponentially with the increasing scientific and economic power that is invested by research and industry. However, artificial intelligence and machine learning are also difficult to understand, not only for the general audience, and also to be trusted. So innovation and artificial intelligence needs a drastically stronger commitment to contribute to an increased understanding, trust, legal framework, and also ethics in order to allow the adoption of the technology. The European Artificial Intelligence Lab, which is co-funded by the Creative Europe program of the European Union, focuses also next to these scientific and technological topics, also on legal, cultural, ethical and educational aspects of artificial intelligence. Over the course of the project, over the course of 3 years, we're realizing 26 residencies, 64 educational programs, 9 performances, 150 training events, and also 22 exhibitions.
Oh, that was a little bit of a sentimental journey back into our past. But post-city is post-city. And as I said, Kepler's garden is the now. And in the now, we have many, many other things to introduce you. And the next thing is that we have actually a festival in the festival running since years, focusing on a specific genre, focusing on the animation.
I can say a couple of words about that. Actually, yes, Jürgen Hagler, the director of the expanded animation of the Animation Festival, is focusing this year's program on expanded animation. And he's not just organizing a 1-day, but a 3-day conference that is streamed online. And 2 days already passed, but today is the 3rd day. However, you can, of course, re-watch the program from the last 2 days. But coming to today, he actually has, as part of the program today, Deep Heart, an Austrian art collective that is not just talking about their works in his symposium, but that are also presenting their newest project on the main square as part of the Art University program. It's a huge, huge, huge projection on the facade of the Art University when you are standing on the main square here. And besides that, as part of the program is also Friedrich Kirschner. He is the guy that you need to go to if you want some advice in how to develop virtual spaces, how to connect theater with digital programs. If you are interested in this innovation, that means, for example, in this context of digital theater. And that guy is actually in Linz at the moment. He is running workshops at the Johannes Kepler University as part of this program, the collaboration between Ars Electronica and the Johannes Kepler University. The project is called Enacting Innovation, and it focuses on the topic of what does innovation actually mean, and especially now that companies are asking for this, asking their team members to be innovative, but you just don't just be innovative. You need some processes, you need some advices, and he actually created a tool together with his collaborators where you can run through a workshop and this innovation is in a way triggered automatically.
And I mean, the key question there is also what environment innovation needs, or if innovation can be created with a specific set of environment. And that's actually a very interesting research question, and even more interesting looking at the social distance thing that we have between us since COVID-19 came. It is really more than ironic that they are enriching us this year with this participatorial piece of a project.
Exactly. Should we continue?
I think so.
Then I think we have a last program on our list that we would like to talk about, and those are the Ars Electronica gallery spaces. Many of you probably have encountered them on their walk through Post City, through the basements of Post City. A wonderful exhibition enriched with talks and artist presentation. This year, of course, this is not possible in the physical space, but we are extremely happy that many of our partners that usually came to Linz are also joining us in this new format, partly online, partly physical, in their own spaces. So as you can imagine, especially for the galleries, the art market system, COVID-19 really kind of triggered something because they could not follow the usual daily program anymore. They couldn't simply open their gallery and welcome visitors. And especially this gallery system is based on a very personal interaction. So what now this need is really for a sudden digitalization in a way of the art market system and the way of experiencing galleries and their projects, which could actually potentially be a huge chance for especially media artworks that are until now not so well represented on the art market. But here, this year, we have an incredible number of galleries also that we haven't worked with before and that now see this advantage in working with Ars Electronica, with our partners and our artists together, or artists that we work with together, in order to enrich their programs. They moved online. They founded new ways of presenting their works. They created games. They created virtual sceneries, for example, in Mozilla Hubs. And also, many of them started to digitalize their collection, such as, for example, the Telekom, where we will have now a brief insight into.
Once information has passed into protein, so this is main reference to research about DNA, but also how information circulates around the world. We just starting installing, which is super long process because each element is connected. So we need to just follow 3 or 4 manuals for preparing this installing step by step. So it is also important that it's actually the biggest work for Telecom Art Collection, so I'm very happy. It's also a little bit stressful because it's a lot of responsibility to make this very good. So first I was working around basic ideas. For me it was important to match to the idea of networking. So of course I came to this point that it must be DNA. Basically I'm just composing a set of elements which I want to repeat. In this case, a repeatable hexagon system. In some point we start to install colorful element made in copper, and these colors referring to DNA components. There is like also theory that DNA coming from the chaotic meeting of few components, and in evolution we became like human, yeah? So this is quite beautiful. I want to just create some kind of base for discussion that we're coming from the same source, like information. This is absolutely about networking, information, big data. It's not only about DNA. I think main critical approach is that we forgetting about real contact, because life right now is so fast and sometimes we're just losing this contact with reality. What I like the most in this situation, it's place in public space. People from the street will be coming and they will be viewers, so it's better context to share ideas.
Yeah, rather interesting program. To mention is that this is actually a collaboration between the Deutsche Telekom and the Ars Electronica with a specific focus on Eastern media art and emerging artists. We will see what the outcome is. Next festival edition, I would think we see more materialized. But now, and this is actually the last sequence of our Morgenkreis. I said before, okay, we were lucky because of kicking off 4 channels. I said before we were lucky because here the weather in Kepler's garden is so incredible good, and I don't want to even think about it or what it would have been when it was raining. But we were extremely lucky because of another reason too, and this Veronika is going to explain us.
We were extremely lucky because just yesterday actually the government in Austria announced that from Monday on there will be extremely tight regulations on events again, on cultural events. So we would have not been able to realize this event from Monday on. We are very fortunate that this was possible still until Sunday night, when we are closing actually, because the numbers here in Austria are rising so drastically currently that the government had no other possibility than to tighten the regulations sincerely again. I hope all of you are safe, all of you are healthy out there. I hope we will also have the situation again in Austria, that we will be able to tighten then the regulations again after this tightening again.
Yeah, okay. Closing with such a sad news is actually, not the finest, but it is our reality, and we were literally lucky. It could have, it could have happened that they kind of stopped us in between the festival. But it didn't happen, and nevertheless, we go on. Corona is actually the reason why we meet here in the studios. Corona is also the reason why this wonderful setting of this Ars Electronica edition this year came together. And the wonderful partnership out there is still firing program into our channels. And I say thank you to you guys. I wish you a good, intense day. I think I promise you.
Hey, thank you guys for watching us.
And I'm looking forward having you here tomorrow again in wrapping up actually on the last day of the festival.
Really?
It's already the last day tomorrow, but
let's get
we
today over with first.
Ladies and gentlemen, I say goodbye to those ladies, and I'd like you